Good morning, students of class 11. Today, in your business study class, we will discuss we will continue with our chapter 2 forms of business organization, in which we will discuss our third organization, that is cooperative society. Cooperative society is a voluntary association of persons of moderate means who unite together to protect and promote their common economic interest. So we can say a cooperative form of business is a different form of business enterprises. In this form, the main motive is not earning profit, but the main motive of cooperative organization is a mutual help. It works with the principle of each for all and all for each. I am repeating, each for all and all for each. So, according to the Indian Cooperative Society Act 1912, cooperative organization is a society which has its objectives from the promotion of economic interest of its members in accordance with cooperative principles. So, first of all, we will discuss the features of cooperative society. First one is voluntary association. So, everyone having a common interest is free to join a cooperative society and can also leave the society after giving proper notice. So, in this, it is totally a voluntary association of person. Any person can join the cooperative society if she has common interest. For example, any farmer can join the agriculture society, or any consumer can join the consumer society. So the member can leave the society whenever they desire, so by giving a notice. So there is no restriction on entry and exit of members. Second, legal status. Its registration is compulsory and it gives it a separate legal entity. Means cooperative society and the members of cooperative society have separate legal entity from each other. Limited liability. The liability of the member is limited to the extent of their capital contribution in the society. Democratic control. Management and control lies with the managing committee elected by the members by giving vote. Every member has one vote irrespective of the number of shares held by them. Service motive. Their main motive of cooperative society is to provide services to its member and not to earn profit. Earning profit is a secondary motive and not the main motive of cooperative organization. Bound by government rules, they have to be tied by rules and regulations framed by government for them. Distribution of surplus. The profit of cooperative society is distributed on the basis of volume of business transactions by a member and not on the basis of capital contribution of member. Means how much transaction they are doing, it depends upon that, not on how many capital you have invested. So in cooperative society, a fixed rate of dividend is given on the capital and remaining surplus is distributed in the form of bonus according to dealings of members with the cooperative organization. Now we will move forward to the merits of cooperative organizations, which are also known as advantages. The first one, size of formation or easy to form. The formation of cooperative society is very simple process. Only 10 adult members having common interest are required to form it. The registration procedure for cooperative organization is very simple and does not involve any legal formalities. Limited liabilities. The liabilities of members is limited to the extent of their capital contribution in the cooperative organization. At the time of losses, the creditors cannot have claim over the personal property of members. Stable existence. Due to registration, it is a separate legal entity and is not affected by the death, luxury or insolvency of any of its members. So the cooperative organization has a stable and continuous life and have a long period of time existence. Government support. Government provides support by giving loans at the lower interest rate subsidies by charging less interest and taxes. Social utility. It promotes personal liberty, social justice and mutual cooperation. They help to prevent concentration of economic power in few hands. Now, limitations of cooperative society. Shortage of capital. It suffers from shortage of capital as it is usually formed by people with limited means. Inefficient management. The cooperative organization is managed by its members only. Generally, all the activities are performed by the members only. These members are not professional experts, they are inexperienced persons. The cooperative organization cannot afford to pay high salary to professionals and qualified people. Lack of motivation. In cooperative society, there is no direct link between the efforts and reward. Hence, members are not inclined to put their best efforts. There is no incentive for working efficiently. Lack of secrecy. Its affairs are openly discussed in its meeting, which makes it difficult to maintain secrecy. Excessive government control. It suffers from excessive rules and regulations of the government. It has to get its accounts audited by the auditor and has to submit a copy of its accounts to registrar. Next one is conflict among members. The members are from different sections of society with different viewpoints. Sometimes when some members become rich, the result is a conflict. So now we will discuss the types of cooperative organization. Basically, there are 6 types of cooperative organizations, which are consumers cooperative organization, producer cooperative society, marketing cooperative society, farmer cooperative society, credit cooperative society, and cooperative housing society. So we will discuss each one of them one by one. First of all, we will discuss consumer cooperative society. It is formed to protect the interest of consumers. It seeks to eliminate middlemen by establishing a direct link with the producers. It purchases goods of daily consumption directly from the manufacturer or wholesalers and sell them to the members at reasonable rates. So its main objective is to ensure steady supply of essential goods, or to supply the goods at a reasonable rate by eliminating the profit bargain of the middleman, to supply the goods and services of high quality. Second is producer cooperative society. The main aim is to help small producers who cannot easily collect various items of production and face some problem in marketing. These societies purchase raw materials, tools, equipments and other items in large quantity and provide these things to their members at reasonable rate. So we can say the main objective of these type of industries is to ensure steady supply of raw material, input, etc. at reasonable price, to provide latest machinery and new technology of production, to ensure smooth distribution and sale of goods produced by members, helping the producers to concentrate their attention on the production of goods. So our next is marketing cooperative society. So marketing cooperative society consists of small producers who find it difficult to sell their product at profit. The output of all the small producers is brought together and sold at the best price. So their main objective is to ensure a steady and favorable market for output of its members, to ensure the best price for the output, to facilitate transportation, warehousing, packaging, etc., which individually cannot be afforded by the members, to ensure honest trading practices in weighing, measuring and accounting, and to eliminate the middleman and has direct dealing with the customers. Next is farmer cooperative society. So these consist of Small farmers who join together to avail the benefits of large scale mechanized farming. Such societies are particularly important in the case of countries such as India, where agriculture suffers from excessive subdivision and fragmentation of land. The farming cooperative society is also known as agricultural cooperative society, and their objective is to help the small farmers to get the benefits of mechanized farming, providing improved seeds, fertilizers, irrigation, and other modern techniques, providing social and economic security to peasants. Next is cooperative credit society. Such societies protect the members from exploitations by moneylenders. They provide loans to their members at easy terms and reasonably low rate of interest. The last one is cooperative housing society. These societies are formed to provide residential accommodation to their members. These societies purchase a big plot of land, construct flats on that, and sell these flats to its members on installments and easy terms. So, their main objective is to provide residential accommodation to their members, helping members to purchase houses at lower rate or cost, providing civic amenities such as road, parks, street lights, parkings, etc. So now our next is a joint stock company. So joint stock company is a voluntary association of a persons for profit having a capital divided into transferable shares, the ownership of which is the condition of membership. So we can say, according to Chief Justice Marshall, a joint stock company is an artificial person, invisible, intangible, and existing only in the eyes of law. Some of the features of joint stock company is incorporated association or separate legal existence. The company must be incorporative or registered under Companies Act 1956. Without registration, no company can come into existence. Second is separate legal existence. A company has a separate legal entity. A company can carry on business on its own name. It can buy and sell assets in its own name. It can enter into contract with outsiders in its own name. The company and its member are separate individuals. Next is perpetual succession. A company has continuous existence independent of its member. A company is created by law and only law can bring an end to its existence. The death, insolvency or incapacity of any member does not affect the existence of company. Members may come and members may go, but the company goes on forever. The life of the company can come to an end through legal procedure of winding up. Limited liability. The liability of every member is limited to the nominal value of the share bought by him or the amount granted by him. Transferability of shares of public company are easily transferable, but there are certain restrictions on transfer of share of private company. Common seal is the official signature of the company and it is affixed on all important documents of company. Separation of ownership and control. Management of company is in the hands of elective representatives of shareholders, known individually as director and collectively as board of directors. Now we will discuss the merits of joint stock company. Limited liability. The liability of the members or the shareholder reduces the degree of risk borne by them, as their liability is very limited or up to the share of capital invested by them in the business. So no creditor can claim over the personal properties of the member. Transfer of interest. Easy transferability of share increases the attractiveness of shares for investment. You can easily transfer your share to someone else if you are not interested anymore. Perpetual existence of a company is not affected by the death of any of the member of the company, which is also a good feature of it, which remains that the continuity and stability of the company does not depends upon the death and insolvency of any member. It will continue for a long period of time. Scope for expansion. A company can collect huge amount of capital from unlimited number of members who are ready to invest because of its limited liability, easy transferability, and chances of high return. Professional management. A company can afford to employ highly qualified experts in different areas of business management. Now we will discuss the limitations or demerits of a joint stock company. Legal formalities. The procedure of formation of company is very long, time consuming, expensive, and requires a lot of legal formalities to be fulfilled. Lack of secrecy. It is very difficult to maintain secrecy in case of public company, as company is required to publish and file its annual accounts and report. Lack of motivation. Divorce between ownership and control and absence of direct link between efforts and rewards lead to lack of personal interest and incentive. So a company is not managed by owners, but it is managed by professional managers. So these managers get salary for their services, so there is no direct link between the efforts and rewards. The increase in company's profit will not increase the income of managers. Hence, there is lack of motivation and incentive to perform effectively. Delay in decisions. Red tapeism and bureaucracy do not permit quick decision and prompt actions. There is little scope of personal initiative. Oligarchic management. Company is said to be democratically managed, but actually managed by few people, that is board of directors. Sometimes they take decision keeping in mind their personal interest and benefit, ignoring the interest of shareholder and company. So now we will discuss the types of joint stock company. Basically there are two types of company: private company and public company, which we will discuss in the difference of private and public company. In private company, the minimum 2 and maximum 50 members, whereas in public company we have minimum 7 and maximum are unlimited, so members of the company. Then second point, in cannot invite general public to buy its shares and debentures in private company, whereas in public company we can invite general public to buy its shares and debentures. In private company, there are certain restrictions on transfer of its shares, whereas in public company, we can transfer our share freely. There are no restrictions. Private company can commence business after incorporation, whereas commence business after obtaining certificate of commencement of business in case of private company. In private company, they have to write private limited after their names, like Tata Sons, Citibank, Hinjai. They have to write private limited after their name, whereas in public there is no need to write. We have to write only limited after their name. In private, their minimum capital required is 1 lakh, whereas in public the minimum capital required is 5 lakh. So these are the two companies which we have discussed today: joint stock company and cooperative societies. So I have given you the assignment below. You have to do the assignment which I have given below and read the PDF file and do make your notes. All the best. Stay home, stay safe. All the best.